So this course here is an introduction to a few basic Buddhist meditation techniques. And it's instruction with actual meditation exercises that I interleave. And we're going to look at these topics: preparing for meditation, breathing meditations, the two fundamental skills of meditation that we really focus on during this course. And those skills are concentration and mindfulness. Those two skills can also be practiced with meditations that specifically emphasize them. And then we also will do visualization meditations tonight as well. So we've got an interesting one. Later in the course, we'll be doing analytical meditations. You might be familiar with those. Sometimes they're termed thinking, but we'll do it in kind of more of a meditative context. And then we'll talk throughout this course about making meditation a habit. It's very easy to meditate. It's even easier not to meditate because of distractions and busyness in life. And so how do we, although we can often meditate and feel really good afterwards, it just like slips our mind. So how do we make it a habit? The good thing, I think, is that this course is for complete beginners. And so you don't need to have an interest in learning about Buddhism, although questions are welcome. They might arise because I'm teaching traditional Buddhist meditation with a little bit of a spin on it. There's no doctrine or dogma in this class, but you might wonder why certain things are expressed in a certain way, and you're welcome to ask. But you don't need to be a Buddhist or meditate on Buddhism at all. You can meditate on whatever you like. So the goal of this course is to give basic understanding and tools to develop your own meditation practice. And like I said earlier, we're going to walk through a selection of meditations and alternate that with basic meditation concepts, techniques, and how to work with obstacles in practice. And with that experience and information, you'll be able to develop a meditation practice that suits your needs and your wants. I would encourage you to share questions and impressions. And it's kind of a good way to help you, but it will also help others too. I would imagine that just about any question that might arise in your mind could also arise in someone else's mind. Maybe I haven't been clear, or maybe it's more of a difficult point, or just unfamiliarity. So you can think by asking a question, you're also helping your fellow students. Well, that's basically the introduction to it. Just so you know what's going to happen at the start of any meditation, I'll just turn off my video. It'll look like this. And then that's just to reduce distraction, just so you can concentrate. You don't need my face in your face. So that's just so that you can take it easy and just focus inwardly. And the meditations we do will generally last several minutes. So yeah, I won't just like disappear and leave you for 90 minutes and then come back later. It'll just be several minutes, and I'll be guiding you through them. The idea behind that is to sort of give you course correction and let you kind of get familiar with the meditation in a guided fashion. The meditations will generally have 4 parts to them. The first, where we just calm the mind. That's something we kind of, everyone has to do just to get into or to approach a meditative state. We'll do a motivation. It's really just gathering, focusing, and gathering and focusing our energy and developing the resolve so that we can just kind of shape our meditation session a little bit. Then we'll do one of the several different actual meditations. And then finally, we'll dedicate. What dedication is it's just taking an appreciation of the work we've done on the meditation cushion and feeling the accomplishment of that, feeling the positive energy. What it is it's kind of a way of hacking your brain. So if you feel positive and elevated after meditating, the next time you think of meditating, you're going to want to do it because it was a pleasurable experience. It has a pleasurable memory. So those are the 4 parts of a meditation session: calming the mind, motivation, the actual meditation, and dedication. And if I can get my technology to work, I'll ring a chime and then we'll dedicate, or I'll just say the meditation is over and now we dedicate. So all of these meditations are available online. You can just go to the website. The link was just beside the one where you joined this class. And there's no doubt that you can read and practice these meditations yourself, and you're welcome to. But the aim here, the aim for this class, is to introduce you to the different types of meditation and give you a bit of context by explaining their uses, answer any questions that come up, and deal with any challenges or difficulties that you might encounter when you're meditating on these topics. So again, feel free to share your impressions and ask questions. Last week, we covered scanning the body meditation and counting the breaths meditation. Let me just very quickly go over those for the students who are joining us tonight. So scanning the body is, it's a meditation that uses the skills of concentration and mindfulness. So we concentrate, that is, we focus our attention on the lowermost point of our body, scanning the body. So we start at the lowermost point and just move our attention upward. And then as we move upward, we just pause at some place in our body and open our awareness, or our mindfulness, which is the second of the 2 meditation skills we're going to practice. We open our awareness and mindfully attend to the sensations we feel at that place in our body. So they could be sensations like tension or relaxation, warmth or cold, pain or comfort, or something even more abstract than that, maybe emotions or different kinds of impressions. And when we reach the crown of our head, we stop there and recall the sensations at the lowermost point, comparing differences. And then we retrace our steps back. We slowly move our attention downwards again, stopping along the way and resting momentarily, open to sensations and perceptions at any point. That was scanning the body. So just a very simple, just scan or inventory taking in a mental way. Counting the breaths. I'll go over this. We'll use this meditation today. That's where you place your attention or your concentration. Skill 1, concentration. You place it at the opening of your nostrils, and you just keep your concentration there. And you just feel the air flow through, in and out, through that one point on your body. So you begin by counting the breaths. Count 1 for the inhale and exhale together. And you count up to 10. Pretty easy. Well, there can be distractions. If you lose concentration, accept the distraction. Don't judge it. It's okay. Distractions are actually normal. Don't feel like you're a bad person or a bad meditator because you're distracted. It's just a natural function of the mind. The mind is always moving. So accept the distraction, don't judge it, just let it go and start at 1 again. Well, you may find that you don't get very far beyond 1, and that's okay too. Whether you get to 2 or 10, it doesn't matter. It's actually the process of placing your concentration here, attending to that concentration and the sensations, noticing when you're distracted, and bringing your concentration back to the same place. So that whole cycle is the actual cycle of meditation, not being like, I don't know, a stone Buddha or, like an ocean. There is actually mental activity happening. So that's normal. Don't let that freak you out. Once your concentration deepens, you can just Slightly let that concentration go and let the mindfulness element, that's the second skill, gently come to the foreground. And just be aware and observant of whatever comes to notice. In general, if you do notice a distraction or mental events that arise, they're just thoughts. They're just mental activity. Be a tourist and watch how they arise, how they change, and how they subside. How thoughts are never still, never static. And see if you can even notice the space between the end of one thought and the start of the next one. If you find distracting thoughts or sensations crowding into your mind, just return to counting your breaths. Let the counting and the attention to the breath bring you back to the present and just what is there. Okay. I mentioned the two fundamental meditation skills, again, because we have some new students tonight. I'll just quickly define them. The two meditation skills that we'll be revisiting again and again are concentration. And all that is single-pointed attention to an object, a mental object. The breath, some other sensation, a visualization, an impression, an emotion, whatever. So that's concentration, the first skill. Then there's mindfulness. This is an inner awareness and observation of the stream of consciousness, the stream of thoughts, emotions, impressions, sensations, and so on. Again, it's like a spy or a hall monitor or a tourist, a scientist watching what's going on in the background. And these two skills interact with each other. They have an interplay. We might emphasize one or the other, whether it's concentration or mindfulness, but they're interrelated and complementary. And in a meditation, we're going to use them to varying degrees. Even within the meditation, we might change the amount we use them. So the concentration, the skill of concentration lets you place your mind and let it remain there in a stable, clear, and engaged way. That's concentration. And that creates the environment for mindfulness. Mindfulness is when your mind is calm, you're able to monitor your awareness and observe what's going on in a relaxed, almost dispassionate way. And mindfulness comes in when your concentration becomes unstable, when it weakens or becomes distracted. When your concentration becomes distracted, mindfulness notices you're not concentrating on your chosen object, say the breath. You're thinking about the beach. Maybe you started thinking about doing some laps in a lap pool underneath the sun and the warm breeze, but that's not what you chose to do in your meditation. So your mindfulness notices that and says, I'm concentrating on something else altogether. And then you use that awareness to bring your concentration back and place it on the object that you chose. And now, just quickly, some just quick observations about meditative posture. Here, we're not going to dictate a particular posture. I would recommend, if you're a beginner to meditation, that you start with a seated posture. And the whole idea is to be able to sit with enough comfort in order to tune out the body and attend to the mind. That's the idea. What that means, though, is your posture is relaxed but upright. Relaxed, upright, attentive. So if you're sitting on a chair, you'll just make sure your feet are well supported, your legs are comfortable, supported by the seat. Your back is away from the seat back. That's what you want to do. Most importantly is the spine, where it's upright and strong, but not rigid or stiff. It's relaxed and it's in its natural curve. If you're a beginner, close your eyes. That helps with distraction. Just close them gently. If you're uncomfortable doing that, that's fine as well. If you're more experienced, you might want to leave a little bit, your eyelids just slightly open. Relax your lips, jaw, teeth, and mouth. The tongue is touching the upper palate behind the top front teeth. That's to reduce the flow of saliva and also to gently stimulate the brain. Your head is slightly inclined forward. The chin is gently pulled in. Then finally, your breath is through the nose. It is soft, quiet, and natural. You can read all about that in handout number 3. It'll go through all of those points in more detail. Well, we're going to start now and do sitting and calming the mind. So, of course, a good setup is a crucial support to consistent and effective meditation practice. In preparing and setting up, what that means is having a meditation seat prepared and a space that's quiet and calming, that you can begin sitting quickly and easily in a calm and pleasant environment. So you want to have that set up beforehand. Really, you want to have no obstacles to meditating that you can prepare. So you have your meditation spot set up. It's comfortable, it's familiar, it's calming. When you sit, so you'll prepare, you'll be habituated to meditating there, and you'll just take the posture I just described. And in order to calm the mind, you have, well, this is the first part of the meditation session. You have many choices, scanning the body, counting the breaths, and the 9-round breathing meditation. I thought we would start, though, with counting the breaths, just to get going, just to get relaxed and seated. It'll just be a brief meditation, and I'll guide you through it. So begin by calming your mind. Focus your attention on your breathing. Just breathe naturally. Focus the mind on the rising and falling of your shoulders and chest as you inhale and exhale gently. Allow your mind to settle and become calm and present, ready to engage in meditation. Now create an altruistic motivation for this session. Think that you're meditating not just for your own individual benefit, but you're taking the time now to meditate and develop your mind to become a wiser and kinder person. So able to be a benefit not only to yourself, but the others around you. That is the second part of the meditation. The third part, the main body of the meditation, you start by focusing your attention at the opening of the nostrils. Pay attention to the very subtle sensations as you breathe in and out through your nose. You can feel certain sensations as the air passes, as the small hairs move, cooler sensations as you inhale, warmer as you exhale. Don't follow the air into your body or out into the surrounding environment. Place your attention on the sensations associated with the breath at the opening of your nostrils. Resolve that you will keep your attention firmly placed on those sensations only. If you become distracted, if the mind wanders to other things and moves away from the point of concentration, then begin your count at 1 again. Even if you never get past 2, it is not a problem. The point is to train your mind to focus on one point only. This concentration can take some practice to attain. If you find it easy to count to 10, then once you get there, count backwards from 10 to 1. Then start again, counting from 1 to 10. So that completes the main meditation. And finally, we dedicate. So we think about our experience we just had, any insights, positive energy, relaxation, calmness that it generated. And we think about how it's contributed to our well-being. That was our first meditation. It's what's called a concentration meditation because we concentrate our attention at our nostrils and then watch our breathing. Any questions or impressions anyone wants to share? John. Yeah, go ahead, John.
Sorry, Stephen. Yeah, I just noticed when I start just trying to concentrate on my breath, which is, I do have trouble getting past about 2 or 3, but anyway, that I start noticing sensations in my body that I didn't have before, like tensions. And so should I, and they are a bit, by trying to avoid them, they seem to take up more urgency for some sort of attention, like to move or, scratch myself or something like that.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. Well, that brings up a couple of interesting things. I guess I wonder is, did they appear because you started meditating, or do you think they were there perhaps already?
I think they're there already. This like a bit of tension, especially I notice it just around my chest. It's probably because then it's just physical sensations. I can deal with like thoughts coming across and coming and going. It's just I was going to say failing, or not, maybe not failing, but I just notice physical sensations in my body that were probably already there. It's just that when you calm your mind down, they just seem to come up a little bit more that probably I push them away. I don't notice them, I suppose.
Yeah.
So it's probably good in one way, but just they're just a bit distracting. I just think they'll go away. Like the thoughts will go away, but the physical things I have, just I have some difficulty dealing with, like this, maybe this tension. And
that's a really interesting comment. And just physical sensations, pain, after a certain part in our lives, pain is pretty much a constant companion.
Well, so, that's probably it. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
I guess what I would say there is part of meditation, in fact, this is the only Tibetan word I will teach you. It's called gom, and it means becoming familiar with. And it's also the word for meditation in Tibetan. And so if that's what's there, then become familiar with it, make friends with it. And as you become familiar with something, it becomes less distracting or less disturbing. So as you sit more, become habituated to sitting, these sensations will become old friends. And I think, in my experience, if I try and push away or suppress something, a lot of times it's just going to come back stronger. So as we go through these meditations, they're examples of different types of meditations. But when you take over your meditation practice, you use it for what suits you, what serves you. And so maybe your body is telling you, Got to pay a little bit of attention to me and stop ignoring, that, I don't know, that sore hip or whatever. How did that sound to you, John?
Sorry. Yeah. No, I think that's right. I mean, I have got some medical issues with my body. I mean, I'm getting older, and so yeah, it's one of those things. I just think it's just it just came up. I just notice it when I'm trying to meditate that I've got these underlying aches and pains. So anyway, yeah, it's just a comment, I suppose.
And it's a great comment. It's so useful to hear that. And it also comes back to the two meditation skills, concentration. And then we begin by concentrating and our mind seems to settle. Even before that, we start with calming the mind, of course, just becoming present by using the breath for that. And relaxing our body and our mind follows, and then concentrating. And then when we begin to still our mind and just clear out distractions, then what arises, seems to me anyways, what arises is the second meditation skill. It just kind of comes up automatically, and that is mindfulness. And then you begin noticing all of these things that might have been there all along. Well, what I'm going to suggest now is we've been going for about half an hour or so. And so, I'm going to suggest we take just a quick 5-minute break. So just move away from any screen, just, stand up. Like John said, if you need to squirm, and you can even do this during your meditation session, sometimes you just need to squirm. But now for this break, just get up, move around a little bit, get a glass of water, look outside, whatever you want to do. And we'll be back in 5. I'll put a little clock up for us if I can figure out how to do it. Sound good, everyone? See you in 5. Welcome back, everyone. Well, we'll get started with another meditation. This one is called the 9 rounds breathing meditation, and it has a few more components than the one we just learned. The 9 rounds breathing meditation is another one we can use to help calm the mind for effective meditation, and can be used by beginners all the way through to advanced practitioners. It starts with a simple visualization, which I'll describe to you. But if you find that distracting, don't worry too much about it. Just focus on your breathing. So it's at its core, it's a simple breathing meditation, good for calming the mind at the beginning of a practice. So it's similar to scanning the body or counting the breaths. You can also use this meditation within a meditation session if you really have trouble with distractions or restlessness. So what you do is you just stop where you are, do the 9-round breathing meditation, then pick up where you left off. So what is this 9-round breathing meditation? Well, it's called the 9-round breathing meditation because what you do is you just take whatever finger you prefer, usually your index finger, and use it to hold your left nostril lightly closed. You breathe in through the right nostril, the open one. Move your finger and then breathe out through the left. You do that 3 times. So you can try it now. In through the right, out through the left. In through the right, out through the left. In through the right, out through the left. Maybe not as quickly as that, but at whatever pace is comfortable. And you just do that 3 times. So all you do for the next set of 3 is reverse the process. Take your index finger, just lightly close your right nostril. You don't have to press hard at all. And then just breathe in through the left and out through the right. Breathe in through the left, out through the right. Breathe in through the left, out through the right. repeating that 3 times. And then finally, you just breathe in naturally through both nostrils and then out through both nostrils 3 times. So that adds up to 9. So that is the basic breathing pattern for the 9 rounds breathing technique. And there'll also be a visualization. I'll describe that to you. Well, let's, are there any questions? Yes, Doris.
Okay, I have a problem with right, left. I can't keep them straight. I can't remember them. But I hear this presentation. Sometimes it starts with the left nostril, sometimes with the right nostril. And I do the visualization that you're going to be speaking about.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if this, the starting point is crucial to that visualization. If you start on the left nostril or the right nostril.
No, so I've encountered this breathing exercise, not just in Tibetan Buddhism, but it's also quite common in yoga as well. And they'll sometimes start on the left or right. So if you're concentrating on right and left, I mean, just do it uniformly. So do 3 on one side, 3 on the other, and then 3 with both nostrils. Did that help a little bit, Doris? Yeah.
Okay, so in a way, yes. But maybe I'm not thinking about the same visualization that you are. I'm thinking about the one where you breathe in non-attachment and out non-attachment.
Right.
I'm wondering if the right left
Okay.
thing is crucial with that aspect.
Yeah, so I'll go into that a little bit after we do the meditation. But yeah, there's a particular affinity. We're not going to go quite that deep in this first introductory session. But there is sort of a theory behind what impurities you purify on which side. But we'll talk about that later. Will that be okay?
Yes, or you
Okay.
can just let me know in
Okay.
another way.
All right. Okay. So let's just get started again, if you don't mind. Hello. So we've got another student. I want to welcome you. So how may I say your first name? Is it Shella or?
Yes.
Okay, Shella. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
I think you were on our class last night with
Yes.
Dawn, weren't you?
Yes. Mhm.
Well, it's great to see you again.
Thank you.
So, I'll just
I've
go
done
ahead.
this before,
ahead.
so yeah.
Okay, great. I'll just go ahead and then lead you through the visualization. I'll describe that a little bit. So now we're going beyond concentration and mindfulness, and we're actually going to use our powers of visualization. So this should be interesting. And then I'll bring in the breathing after that. And then once we complete that, I'll say a few words about Doris's question. All right, everyone. So again, just take your comfortable meditation posture, relaxed but upright and alert. Comfortable so that you can focus inward. So we'll start by calming our minds and focusing our attention on our breathing. We just learned the technique of counting the breaths, so you're welcome to use that, or you can just pay attention to the breath. Just keep your attention on your breath and let your mind settle for a moment or two. So we look at our motivation for meditating tonight. We're meditating for our own individual benefit, of course. But we can think how, if we work on our minds to become a wiser and kinder person, how that might help all those others around us as well. Here's the visualization. See if you can make this coalesce in your mind, in your mind's eye. Begin by visualizing 3 imaginary channels or tubes within your body through which energy can move. Imagine these channels as round and hollow, the size of a straw, and very fine, smooth, flexible, and luminous. The central channel is blue. It starts at a point midway between the eyebrows, curves up and back along the inside of the skull, like the handle of an umbrella, and then down along the inside of the spine to a point 4 finger widths below the navel. That's the blue channel, curving up and back along the inside of the skull like the handle of an umbrella, then down the inside of the spine. The right channel is red and runs from the right nostril back and then downward along the right side of the central channel, that is the blue one, to end at the point 4 finger widths below the navel. The left channel is white and also runs from the left nostril down along the left side of the spine to also end 4 finger widths below the navel. Imagine that the ends of these 3 channels join together at this point below your navel. So a blue central channel, a red right channel, a white left channel, all joining together at the center of your body. Now we just add to this the 9 rounds breathing. So hold the left nostril closed with an index finger. Inhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. As you do this, imagine you're sending the breath all the way down to the end of the right channel. Imagine that the breath flows from the right into the left channel as you move your index finger and hold the right nostril closed. Now exhale slowly and fully through the left nostril. As the breath leaves the left nostril, imagine that all impurities are expelled with the breath. You might want to do this maybe more than 3 times just to get used to it if you're unfamiliar. So the breath is coming in through the right nostril, down through the red right channel, across, up the left white channel, and out the left nostril. Now all we do is just reverse the process. Holding the right nostril closed with your index finger, breathe in deeply through the left nostril, sending the breath all the way down to the end of the left channel, the white channel. As the breath crosses your body and moves into the right channel, Move your index finger to hold the left nostril closed. And exhale slowly and fully through the right nostril. As the breath leaves the right nostril, imagine that all impurities are expelled with the breath. Try this a few times, maybe more than 3, just to get the hang of it. So the breath is entering the left, going down the left white channel, crossing the body, coming up the red right channel and out the right nostril, kind of like in the shape of a U. Now inhale slowly and deeply through both nostrils, sending air down through the right and left channels. As you exhale, imagine that the breath is expelled up and out through the central channel, the blue channel. And as you breathe out through your nostrils, imagine that you are expelling all impurities out through the point between the two brows. Now imagine that all 3 channels, the central blue channel, the red right channel, and the white left channel are completely clean and luminous. And to end this meditation, we feel the whatever positive sensations we had doing this, maybe a sensation of purification or just kind of being interested in what that visualization was. And we dedicate it to our own well-being and, of course, the well-being and happiness of others around us. Now, were there any questions? I'll get to your question in a second, Doris, if that's okay. Any other questions? Well, I'll just say that that's an interesting meditation. And I commend you, if you haven't meditated for a while, you did great. So this meditation is really used to calm the mind. So you can use it, and as you get more familiar with it, you can do it quite quickly. So it's just like, 9 breaths, really. And you can use that. Why does it even work? Well, we've got a lot going on in our minds. And although we sit on the meditation seat, it can take a while to sort of let everything just kind of fall away and then become calm and still. So it can be hard to bring your attention inwards. So what this has is a simple body visualization to occupy the mind and keep the stray thoughts away. That's part of the reason why that visualization is there. Also, when you're focusing on your breath and your body, you tend to be more in the present. You're just thinking about the sensations you're having. You're not thinking about what happened in the past or imagining what might happen in the future. And that in itself can be very calming. When you're breathing this way, the breathing is regulated, extended, and directed downwards. Those are all physiological ways of calming the body and the mind and the nervous system. And it kind of has sort of a calming, almost mesmerizing, regular, repetitive, cyclical pattern that you can repeat again and again if you're having trouble getting settled. And finally, as you visualize this, I mentioned this, you visualize impurities are being expelled with the breath. And that can bring a feeling, even if you're just imagining it, your breath isn't really any different, it's just air. But if you imagine that you're expelling impurities, it can bring a feeling of relief, lightness, and calm. So yeah, so Doris had a question, okay, and it was a really good question. This particular method of meditation is actually used by both beginners and highly advanced practitioners. And sort of Doris's question kind of tends more towards the advanced practitioner side of things. So she asked, well, does the right and left matter? So on the right, the channel is red, and we're getting a little bit into Buddhist stuff. So, you know, you just let it flow over you if you're not interested, and that's a-okay. So the right channel is red, and it has an association with a certain Buddha family. You might have seen prayer flags, Buddhist prayer flags, and they have like 5 colors to them. And so there's five families and 5 colors associated. Red is associated with the Buddha family that is headed by a Buddha named Amitabha. And Amitabha's specialty is transforming attachment to loving kindness. So attachment here doesn't mean, you know, liking someone or something. It means a sort of attachment that has expectations that can't be met. When, for example, you're expecting someone to be some way, to do something for you, that's the type of attachment. Or you're expecting them never to change, or you're expecting them to have only certain qualities, but not others, even though they may have all of those qualities. So that's what we mean by attachment here. And so it gets transformed into loving kindness, which is sort of no strings, no expectations. It's just pure, well, loving kindness, really. Letting you be you, letting another person be another person, and not expecting anything from them. So red is on the right. It's associated with Amitabha. And so what Amitabha does is he takes attachment, the negative form, kind of grasping, clinging, with expectations, and transforms that just into open, loving kindness. So you imagine you're breathing in pure light from the left nostril, pure white light. This is like the next level of this meditation. And so you imagine you're breathing in pure white light from the left nostril. And when you're exhaling it through the right, it gets transformed. So that's why the right is red. And that's why you're thinking that you're transforming attachment when it leaves the right nostril. Well, it's the same for the left, except with a different Buddha family. It's Akshobhya, and that's ignorance, I'm sorry, that's anger transformed to tolerance. And so that's on the white side. White associates with Vairocana, who's the head of that Buddha family. And then you just imagine breathing in pure white light via the right nostril, and then exhaling, you imagine that all anger and hatred is transformed and expelled. And then finally, the blue channel is related to Akshobhya, which is ignorance transformed into wisdom. So that's where you imagine breathing in pure white light via the left and right nostril together, and imagine both of the channels are connected. Then that breath rises again through the center. And that's where ignorance and confusion is transformed by the special power of Akshobhya, transformed into wisdom. So that's my explanation. Of course, you'll notice those are like the three, well, they're called the three poisons, the three like major problems that we tend to have in everyday life. Anger, attachment, that's like misdirected love, misguided love, and then finally ignorance, just being confused about the way reality is. I hope that answered your question a little bit, Doris.
More than a little bit, because I think I now have a lifelong way to remember this. Right?
Okay.
Red
Well,
Amitabha.
yeah.
And once I start there, I'll be good.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
glad to hear that. Yes. Okay. Are there any other questions about this? Sorry about that discursion. I hope it wasn't too, too boring. And really, our attention here is just to focus on a meditation technique. So, any other questions? Excellent. All right. Well, I'll just say a quick few words more, and then we'll have a break in about 5 minutes. I'll just touch briefly on the benefits of meditation. Now, you're all here, and I'm grateful that you're here, and I'm flattered that you're here, actually. So you must have some idea already, some kind of motivation, some kind of idea what you might get out of meditation. I'll go over some things, though, because it's handy, again, from a brain hacking perspective. If you keep those things in mind and revisit them, either the ones I list out to you or the ones that motivate you personally, then this will help you return to the meditation cushion. Right at the top, I said, yeah, it can actually be quite easy to meditate, but it's also easier sometimes to not even meditate, just get distracted. So we want to keep the benefits in mind and revisit them so we have a motivation to return to the cushion. So you might have experienced this tonight. It gives us a temporary release from the stress and confusion of our crazy modern lives. And here we're learning to calm the mind quickly and effectively. The examples are the simple breathing techniques and visualizations that we just used already. These bring us into the present, relax us, and reduce stress. And we can use those on and off the meditation seat. There's no reason why you can't count your breaths or even do a 9 rounds breathing meditation in the grocery store while you're waiting for the checkout. So that's one thing, it's just temporary release from stress. And if that's where you are, then you don't need to worry about some of the other meditation topics we'll cover. First, get relaxed and begin to handle your stress. And so that's just the first part of a meditation session, calming the mind. And if that's as far as you get, but if that serves you, that's a-okay. The skills we develop in meditation, in particular concentration and mindfulness, really can be helpful not only on the meditation seat, but just in just about any situation we encounter in our daily lives. I mean, just imagine if you could improve your concentration by 5 or 10 or 20%, how that might help you throughout the day. And also mindfulness, like what John was telling us about earlier. Well, what if you were more mindful to your body state? And perhaps you could regulate your breathing, or you'd be more aware of aches and pains and how that affected you, maybe affected your emotions or your patience. Then that could be pretty helpful too, not only on the meditation seat, but just in regular life. So really, concentration can offer us an antidote to the short-term fragmented attention span and incessant distractions in today's world. I don't know about you, but I mean, it gets kind of crazy sometimes. And the way concentration does that is by increasing our mental stability. And mindfulness can help us remain calm or quickly and easily return to calmness in stressful situations. Maybe the stress is building slowly throughout the day and you're not even aware of it. But if you become mindful of that, well, you can very quickly notice it and then apply some of the simple breathing meditations to counteract that. And finally, this is sort of more of an advanced benefit. But meditation, once we calm our minds and become mindful, we can calmly and clearly examine, understand, and train our minds from within. So this examination connects us more deeply with our lives, helping us see things more realistically. When we look from the inside and in a calm and analytical way, we can understand what's going on a little bit better in our lives. Meditation will strengthen the skill of placing and keeping our attention where it serves us best, which over time makes our life experience more positive and productive. Where we place our attention, and that's the skill of concentration, placing our attention where we want it. Where we place our attention defines our experience over time. And then finally, over the long term, we can, through meditation, we can develop the personal qualities we value by practicing meditations that promote these qualities. And later in the course, we'll look at some of those meditations. And that obviously will benefit us. It'll help us become an even better person. And it'll also benefit everyone around us. They might not notice it immediately, maybe not notice it 3 months or 6 months later, but over time, that will become part of your character, part of your personality, and others will notice that. So those are a few benefits of meditation. I just listed them out, but really, you're going to have your own motivation, and it's important to recall that. By recalling that, that helps you return to the meditation seat. In the end, you can gain a benefit from meditation, even if only you meditate for 5 or 10 minutes. And if you only get to calming the mind, you can gain a benefit from meditation, but you have to do it consistently. So it's not whether you meditate 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes, an hour, 90 minutes, or what you meditate on. It's whether you do it consistently or not. That's the secret. So that kind of takes us into how you develop a meditation habit. And I kind of talked about this a little bit, but the first thing to look at is if you do intend to, if your intention is to develop a consistent meditation habit, then the first place you start is by looking for a regular time in your existing daily routine. That is your habitual routine. You're taking a new habit, that is your meditation habit, and linking it with existing habits. Find a place in your daily routine where meditation fits naturally and easily, and slot it in. People ask, well, should I meditate in the day or in the night, in the morning? When should I meditate? Well, it's going to depend on you. I think the common answer is, well, morning is good because you're fresh and clear when you wake up in the morning, but that's not always true for everyone. Really, it comes back to that advice that I gave you is, can you find a place in your already habitual actions where you can slot some meditation in? I mentioned this up at the top. Make it easy to practice by preparing a calm and pleasant meditation setting ahead of time and leaving it set up. You don't want to have to even think about it. So you should be able to just get that impulse in your mind, or maybe just automatically because it follows another habitual action. Get that impulse in your mind, or just follow the habit and get onto the cushion without even thinking about it. Just find yourself on the meditation seat. When you're beginning, you start really small and simple, just a few minutes at first. You focus on calming your mind, and then choose meditations you find easy and rewarding. if you found that 9 rounds breathing meditation really interesting because of like that psychedelic visualization, you should do that because it's fun. Or any other, maybe you just like counting the breaths because that calms you quickly and effectively, and you feel better in a very short time. Or you could do scanning the body. Maybe you want to become more familiar with your bodily sensations, get more comfortable with them so they're less distracting. Start really small and simple, just a few minutes at first. Focus on calming the mind and choose meditations you find easy and rewarding. At the end of the session, finish each session on a good note by appreciating any calmness, relaxation, experience of self-discovery, and any kind of personal development, anything that you feel helps you, so that you have a positive impression when you leave the meditation seat. All of this stuff is related to building what builds a habit, what no matter what it is. And then finally, avoid setting expectations in terms of having timetables or achievements. You should have expectations. Well, your expectation at a high level should be that you want to gain the benefits of meditation, but they might not appear in the next session. It might take time. So therefore, you should be non-judgmental, accepting, and engaged and curious about your experiences as you develop your meditation habit. Non-judgmental, accepting, engaged, and curious. Why are those so important? Well, because when you're sitting, you might get all kinds of sensations or impressions or emotions coming up. And those sensations or impressions or emotions might at your first reaction not seem pleasant. They could be like painful physical sensations. They could be difficult memories. They could be difficult situations that you had during the day. But they're just thoughts. And so you don't want to add any more judgment to them. You just want to accept them so that you can work with them. And you want to be curious so you can see, well, why am I feeling that way? What is causing this, what I think is a negative sensation or negative emotion? And that gives you the space to work with these things. They will come up. I mean, it just seems logical that you're not always going to be in a blissed out state as soon as you sit down on your meditation cushion, but you can engage with that as long as you're non-judgmental, accepting, and curious. To build a habit, it's going to take, well, you can build a habit quickly, but in general, for something like meditation, it's going to take at least a month of consistent practice. It can take as long as a year to build a robust habit. So all that said, you should have low expectations so as not to be disappointed, but not no expectations. So just to sum up, at first we focus on getting comfortable and relaxed in the meditation seat. And when this is easy, then we move on to more advanced meditations. Well, that was a lot of words. So does anyone have like any comments or observations or anything you want to say?
I was just going to say, Steve, that was interesting with the 9-round breathing, because when I was just doing the concentrating on counting my breaths, I was saying before, I noticed, lots of aches and pains, and whereas I didn't, I'm sure they're there because I can actually feel them now. But in the 9-round breathing, because I had a bit of a different focus, they certainly weren't as apparent. So it was quite good. And actually that explanation regarding the color of the channels, that was interesting too. So that enriched it all. So yeah, it was good.
Yeah, when we first introduced this meditation, the visualization is just getting rid of impurities. So you can think of those unhelpful emotions or thoughts, or even physical pain. You can just do whatever you want. You can imagine that going away. But yeah, you're right. And I'm glad Doris asked that question, is that there's actually, you can discriminate a little bit more and focus on getting rid of particular types of unhelpful emotions and thoughts. So thanks for saying that, John. Well, we've got 15 minutes left. Would you guys like a 5-minute break? Or shall we just finish up with a meditation? Okay, who wants a break? Who wants to meditate? All right, we'll do that then. And if you have to go at 8:30, just close your session. It's okay, I understand. So we are going to do, yeah, this is going to be fun. But before I go ahead, were there any more questions or observations before we dive into another meditation? Okay, let's go. So the next meditation we're going to do is, it's called the Bare Attention exercise. But really, this will be an interesting one. We've already tackled some pretty interesting meditations tonight. But we're going to do bare attention. I think I prefer to call it bare mindfulness exercise. We know that we have two major skills or kind of mental factors that are happening in our mind when we're meditating. The first is concentration, where we focus, and the second is mindfulness. So what we're going to do here is we're going to flip this all around. We're going to start with counting the breaths meditation, which of course is concentration on our nostrils, on the breath, on counting. We're going to begin with that in order to settle our mind. Once our mind is settled, we're going to back off and flip over to mindfulness. Remember what mindfulness is. Mindfulness is just sort of a non-judgmental awareness, kind of watching in the background. I don't know, just imagine yourself, say you're at a cafe in Italy, beautiful cafe. It's nice and warm outside, and you're just sitting there. You're a tourist, and you're watching all of the people moving along the street, all the passersby, all the vehicles, all the people walking their dogs and cats and so on. And you're just observing. You're not really associating or telling any stories about them. You're just watching them with open and accepting awareness. That's mindfulness. And so we're going to go from concentration to backing off from that and then becoming mindful of what arises. We don't care. We're not expecting anything at our cafe. We're just open and accepting as to whatever comes through our mind. When it comes up, we're not going to attach to it. We're not going to grab on. We're just going to notice. We'll watch how it changes and then subsides again. So that's the bare mindfulness exercise. So sit comfortably, relaxed but upright, back straight. Focus your attention on your breathing. Breathe naturally. And then try one of the calming the mind meditations, counting the breaths. That's pretty easy. Or you could just watch your breath. Or if you think you got it, you could try the 9 rounds breathing. If the visualization is still too complicated and unfamiliar, you can just close the left nostril, breathe in through the right, do that 3 times. Reverse that, and then both nostrils. Just experiment. See what you can do in order to become calm, still, and concentrated. As our mind settles, we can think about our motivation. Maybe one of the benefits of meditation that I told you about, maybe you want to focus on that. Or just what brought you originally to this class. And think how it will help you. But not only that, by you taking the time and making the effort to develop your mind to become a wiser and kinder person, think about how you can benefit others around you as well. So with this meditation, we begin by tuning our concentration. We can use the breath as an anchor for our attention if we begin to get distracted. If our mind is especially scattered and distracted, or it becomes that way, place more emphasis in your meditation on the element of concentration, focusing your mind more firmly on your breath. Remember that distractions are normal. Your attention may be distracted by a thought or by external sounds or sensations in your body. For example, itching or pain. As soon as you become mindful of this, realize that it has happened and accept it. Just take note. You can label these sensations if you like, if you find that helpful. Labeling them as thinking about the past, thinking about the future, or sensations. Don't get upset or disturbed, and don't judge them. Then very gently disengage from the thought or distraction and return your attention to the breath. Now we'll back off on the concentration and begin to move mindfulness to the foreground. Loosen your concentration slightly and place a greater emphasis on the element of mindfulness in your meditation. This is just an accepting awareness, an accepting and open awareness. Allow your mind to be attentive and observant of whatever comes to notice, regardless of what it is. Don't identify with the mental elements arising. They're just thoughts. Simply observe them like a tourist. Allow them to arise as you observe them and pass away. Don't get involved, just be aware. Each time the mind wanders from the breath, you might want to note how and where it's wandered. Thoughts of the past, present thinking or fantasizing, planning for the future. What kind of thoughts tend to attract your mind's attention? What does that say about what thoughts play a role in your life? Well, we'll just take a very short break here and we'll dive into the final meditation of tonight. Just feel free to, squirm, readjust, make yourself comfortable, and we'll go right into another meditation that follows on from this one. So now we've had awareness. We've gone from concentration to mindfulness. Now we're going to bring both of those together. So if you like, we'll just quickly finish up in a minute or two. Of course, thank you, Carmen. We'll just finish up in a minute or two, but we'll have one final part. And this will be meditation on mind like the sky. So if you're comfortable, return to your meditation posture. And as you begin to settle again, I'll say a little bit about this meditation. This is called meditation on mind like the sky. In our ordinary perceptions, our thoughts and feelings seem to be all there is to our mind. One thought, feeling, image, or idea after another. Unending chain. All these mental contents seem to fill up our minds completely, as if our minds are small, finite containers. But this is an illusion, a misperception on our parts. Our minds are actually vast and infinite, clear and spacious. Our minds have no boundaries, no limits. When we experience the vast, clear spaciousness of our mind, the clarity of our awareness, we begin to see how our thoughts and feelings are like clouds in the sky, simply passing through this vast, spacious awareness, not filling it up. Suddenly, we have some space from the endless attachments, aversions, and dissatisfactions of life. So as you loosen your concentration and increase your mindfulness, as we did just a moment ago, allow your mind to be attentive and observant of whatever comes to notice, regardless of what it is. Just allow your mindful attention to expand, to encompass your entire sphere of experience of consciousness. See if you can forget there's an observer and something being observed. Simply imagine your experience, your consciousness, as being just like the sky. Just like the sky that's clear, vast, spacious, without end. Our minds are clear and aware, spacious like the sky. When a thought or an emotion, an idea or an image or a sensation arises in our minds, we just observe it. Let it arise and let it pass. Each thought, each mental event, just like a cloud. Be mindful of that experience of space and bliss. Whenever we identify with and are carried away uncontrollably by a thought or a feeling, we lose any awareness of the spaciousness of our mind, of the vast, clear, and knowing nature of the mind, within which each thought, sensation, or feeling occurs. When we can simply observe these thoughts and feelings arising without getting involved, then we can identify with the sky instead of with the clouds. Then we can reside in that spacious purity of our basic clarity of mind. Calm, clear, peaceful, open spaciousness. Without agitation, without delusion, without anxiety and distress, without dissatisfaction and attachments and aversions. Well, that completes the meditation. How did that go? Doris.
I like the short bursts of meditation. instead of like doing like a half hour, 45 minutes. I like the, good presentation, Stephen.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, it takes practice. It takes a lot of practice to get used to, like, even sitting 45 minutes. It's my experience that often there'll be like brief breaks within a 45-minute meditation. It depends on the tradition and style. I think our Zen Buddhist friends, I think they meditate longer. So yeah, but as I said earlier, start with short 2, 3, 4, 5 minute meditations, breaking them up, whatever you can do, whatever's comfortable, and then let the habit build before you try and push too hard. Yeah, so thank you for that comment. Thank you, Doris. And anyone else want to say anything?
Thank you so much. It was a wonderful class.
Oh, okay. And let's see, was that Tracy?
Yes.
Okay, hello, Tracy. Good to meet you. Thank you for saying that. If you're free and if you feel so inclined, come back and visit us next week too. All right, well, I guess I'll just offer you some home practice that you might want to do. You can just try any of the meditations that we covered tonight. You've got the handouts if you want to look at them. I would suggest, especially if you're coming back to meditation or you're new, just work on the calming the mind, just a simple breathing meditations. Get comfortable, get set up. 5 minutes, consistency is the secret. You might want to try, we did the sky, mind like the sky. There's another one with mind like the ocean, which is very similar. So it's up to you. If you're feeling like a little bit dried out with the spring winds, maybe you want to imagine that you're like floating in an ocean instead of like the blue New Mexico sky, full of pollen and dust. And yeah, so that's it. That's what I would suggest for home practice. And would anyone like to make any like last comments or questions? Well, then let's do a dedication. We didn't really dedicate at the end of those meditations. So let's together appreciate and rejoice in the positive energy and insight that we created working together in this session. Maybe you had certain realizations or certain experiences that you found helpful or interesting or intriguing. Well, all of this is progress towards a worthwhile goal of becoming a better person for the benefit of yourself and all of those around you. So that's something to be pretty satisfied about. Many people don't have the time or energy to engage in this, so I congratulate you. And then even just the motivation to improve yourself or just learn more about yourself. So think about all of those things and try and generate a positive feeling, just of satisfaction and accomplishment, having done something for yourself and others. And when you feel that emotion, just stop thinking and reasoning about it and just feel it and let that emotion sink in for a moment. Let that be the final emotion of this meditation class tonight. Well, that ends the class. I went over by 10 minutes, so I apologize, but you're always welcome to check out early if you need to. No problems there. All right, everyone, thank you so much for attending. It's been great giving this class to you all. And if you're available, see you next week.
All right.